George Anthony questioned about a babysitter named Zenaida Gonzalez in the civil case against Casey.
Did she ever describe Zanny to you?
I never heard a description of Zanny until all this stuff happened in July of 2008.
And the frustrated father, at times, clearly had enough.
I already asked that question, sir. Come on, don't be nice now. Be nice.
The question I'm asking you, there's actually a third person could be paying her, which would be your daughter.
That's a possibility, sir. How she got the money, I have no idea. So let's just cut to the chase.
An angry George Anthony trying to keep his cool.
Both Cindy and George Anthony have finished their depositions with attorney John Morgan. They pretty much lasted all day.
He is representing Zenaida Gonzalez, the woman suing Casey, saying she destroyed her reputation when Casey said a woman by the same name took little Kaylee. Now, from the Anthony's answers to the reaction, we have live team coverage. First with Jessica D'Onofrio. Jessica, are we hearing any of Cindy's answers yet?
No, Mike, we're actually still waiting for her transcript and DVD, but we have been able to look through George Anthony's DVD, his deposition right here. He is very combative with the civil attorneys. He actually accuses one of them of giving him the middle finger at one point during the deposition. Take a look at some of the segments from the questioning today.
Am I upset, sir? You're darn right I'm upset being here. So I think this is just uncalled for.
Were there incidences in the year leading up to the disappearance where your daughter had taken money, to your knowledge, that didn't belong to her?
I'm not going to answer that.
I'm not going to spend my whole deposition explaining to you what the relevance is, because A, relevance isn't the standard here, but B, whoever took that child did harm to that child. If it is not my client, it tends to prove my case. So I want to find out all the circumstances leading up to it to show it couldn't have been her. Your daughter throughout that time was indicating that Zanny had her, right?
At the beginning, sir, that's what I was told, yes.
Well, did sometime during the time she was missing before the remains were found, did
you know something? If you said her remains one more time, sir, I'm walking out this door.
Okay.
How dare you say that about my granddaughter? How dare you?
Everything you know today, do you believe there ever was a Zanny, the babysitter?
I have a belief in my daughter, yes. Well, thank you. I'd appreciate some courtesy.
Okay.
And I appreciate you giving me the finger as you're putting your foot down.
Sir, come on. I'm pushing my glasses up. I don't.
No, you've done it 3 or 4 times, so I don't appreciate the motion.
And I will continue. I push my glasses slide down up on my face. I wouldn't sit here and shoot a bird at you. I'm sorry. I will be very careful to use my pinky, so there's no question now.
Now, George Anthony apologized to Zenaida Gonzalez for what she's been going through. He admitted that she is not the Zanny the nanny that Casey had previously described. He actually told Zenaida Gonzalez in the deposition that he hoped that he could shake hands with her after all of this was over. Live in Orlando, Jessica D'Onofrio, Local 6.
Just to clarify, George did answer most of the questions?
He did. He answered most of the questions, but there were quite a few that he didn't answer. So now that this deposition is over, John Morgan, the attorney for Zenaida Gonzalez, can go to a judge and force him to come back and answer those questions. We do know that John Morgan does intend to do that, so George could wind up in the hot seat once again. Mike?
All right, thanks, Jess.
All right, now let's go to Mike DeForest live in Orlando. He's got reaction from the other side, so to speak. Lots of angry people today. John Morgan even gets fired up after these depositions, Mike.
Everybody seemed to be fired up today, including Cindy Anthony. She was visibly angry as she left the depositions today, and George did not look too happy either.
Don't have hope. You don't have faith. And I know you don't have faith.
Shut up.
No, I'm not shutting up. Tell me I can't pray? Yes, you did. You went on TV and said I shouldn't be praying. No, we're out of here. I can't stomach the man.
Cindy Anthony leaves her 2.5-hour deposition with attorney John Morgan, furious at comments he made on TV, claiming Cindy prayed about finding her granddaughter, but did little to actually search for Kaylee.
She really didn't want to answer our questions. Right. She thought they were frivolous, they were unfair, that we're It had nothing to do with clearing her name, and that all she needed to do was say, that's not the Zenaida Gonzalez, and go home, and I don't want to answer any more questions. And if you ask any more, that made her very unhappy.
Zenaida Gonzalez's attorneys say that to restore their client's reputation, they'd like to show that someone other than the mysterious babysitter Zanny kidnapped and killed Kaylee. If Casey won't admit to the crime, Zenaida at least wants Casey to acknowledge that she is not the babysitter.
Is it good that they don't believe it's her, too? Absolutely. Does it end the problem? No, it doesn't. Nor does it ever address the question of retribution and civil justice for what she did to this woman up to the point we start clearing her name.
And that video deposition of Cindy Anthony will be filed with the court clerk. In fact, we believe it already has. So we will most likely have the video of Cindy's deposition for you tonight at 11 o'clock. Meanwhile, Zenaida Gonzalez's attorney, John Morgan, says that he feels bad for what George Anthony is going through, but he did not offer any type of sympathies for Cindy. Reporting live in downtown Orlando, Mike Forrest, Local 6.
Well, that'll be interesting to see what she had to say under oath. In the meantime, Mike, you had a big development to another story you broke this week. We're talking about the bar investigating Jose Baez. What have you learned about that investigation?
Well, we have now learned that, in fact, it was the Anthony family's private investigator, Dominic Casey, who filed the original complaint against Jose Baez with the Florida bar. We've also learned that the judge forwarded that complaint as well. Now, Dominic Casey searched those woods off Suburban Drive 3 times in the month before little Kaylee's body was found nearby. The private eye has filed a complaint with the Florida bar, claiming that Jose Baez told him not to call 911 if he found Kaylee's body. Now, Jose Baez adamantly denies allegations that he told Dominic Casey to keep the crime scene a secret, and Baez says he will address those false claims at a later time. Now, we also know that Judge Stan Strickland referred the private investigator's allegations to the Florida bar as well. Under the bar rules, all members, including judges, have a duty to report any type of alleged misconduct among other members of the Florida bar, so that's likely what happened in this case. Now, the Florida bar must decide, first of all, whether they even have any rules that were broken, and if they do have those rules, then they need to go about trying to figure out whether this conversation actually took place. Did Jose Baez actually tell that private investigator, if you find Kaylee's body in the woods, don't call 911? That's what the bar is trying to get to the bottom of right now. Lauren.
All right. Thank you very much.